That's right.
Oh, God.
You. This one. You.
Yeah.
Have you sworn allegiance to the First Order?
Of course.
Very good. Gold Star Day for you.
Looking forward to it.
Excellent.
All right, guys, we're here at Galaxy's Edge in Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida. The park actually opened in Disneyland back in May, but of course, the new one here in Walt Disney World is opening this month. So we're getting a media preview for the next 2 days to take a look at the Millennium Falcon, ride the ride, see what differences there are between this one and the one in Disneyland, if any. But we're just going to explore, see the people, meet the citizens of Batuu. We're going to talk to some of the creators behind the world of Batuu and Galaxy's Edge. I'm going to ride the Millennium Falcon. That's all that really matters, let's be honest. But we might also get a sneak peek of Rise of the Resistance. I think it might happen. Let's hope. Let's go. Race.
I like to kick it.
I am here with Doug Chang, and he is going to be telling us about the amazing world of Batuu. Doug, thanks so much for talking to us.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Absolutely.
My pleasure.
So, give us an overview of this incredible world that you guys have created.
I know this was a huge challenge for us because I'm used to designing movie sets, but I think the mission from the beginning was that we wanted to make this world so immersive and unlike anything that anybody has ever experienced before.
Right.
And so our goal really was to make a world and an experience that will seamlessly fit into the Star Wars universe.
Disney itself is they're kind of the grandfather of the immersive experience, right?
Yeah.
So they're really well known for meticulous, detail, and they create these immersive experiences for their guests. What was done differently about the research that you all did to create Batuu and Galaxy's Edge as a whole?
I mean, it was very similar to how we design films. I mean, so we always do a lot of research. We go on location to find sort of the grounding sort of location that would actually anchor the sort of design in reality. And in some ways, I approached this very much like a film. And the only difference was that my learning experience in terms of what the WBI team brought to this was incredible because the level of thoroughness, the fidelity of all the construction is at a level that's beyond me. Because, when I work on a movie set, we're building things temporarily. They last maybe a couple weeks at most. And here we have to make them last for decades.
It's got to live.
Yes.
It's got to live here.
And the amazing thing is that everything has to be absolutely real. There's no cheating involved.
Right.
Like in cinema, we can cheat. So like rocks can be painted foam. Here, the rocks are real rocks. And it's great because, my dream was, every time when I first saw Star Wars when I was 15, I've always wanted to go and live in the world of Star Wars. And now I think you finally have a chance to do that.
And it's the heart of it being the Millennium Falcon
Yeah.
and Smugglers Run, that little center core piece, right?
Yeah. No, that was sort of one of my sort of pride and joy is, get the Falcon in here. Because we all love the Falcon.
Right.
I think it's probably one of the most iconic designs. in
It's
Star Wars.
shocking to see at first.
Yes, yes. No, and the beauty is that, there's been so many different versions built for our films because each one was built for a different purpose. Here we consolidated all that to build the one iconic Falcon, and that's what you're going to see here. Walking up to the Falcon, I mean, to actually experience it in person, I think it's going to blow people's mind away because there's something so surreal. It's like a character in a movie, but it is at such a scale that is unbelievable.
But also, you've got this conflict that's happening here between the First Order and the Resistance. Tell us a little bit about that.
Of course, we have to have conflict. Yeah, I mean, this is a Star Wars story.
That's absolutely
and
right.
so the idea is that the Resistance have set up base, and they're slowly kind of coming in here. And so you'll see and experience part of that. We have a new TIE shuttle, which is a new vehicle that you'll see very soon in some of our films. But to have that, as a presence here, as a counterpart to the Falcon, I think was a perfect blend of the two sides of the Star Wars universe.
And then we have Rise of Resistance coming in December, and that's just going to take it to the next level, right?
No, that's going to be an amazing experience because that kind of absolutely seals the deal in terms of having the conflict that you had mentioned earlier.
Right.
So we're going to really get to see what it's like to be, fighting the Empire.
go spend the next 20 minutes flying the Millennium Falcon? Don't mind if I do. Walking through the line, you know, no big deal. Just checking out the Millennium Falcon. Just a Tuesday.
The flashing button to take off. Pilot on the left. Move your stick to fly. I was at speed.
That's the greatest moment of my not so young life. Fire everything! Did we die? Oh, jeez!
Shoot the cargo, Reed.
Yes! Yes! He said brakes, man! Boost!
Let's get out of here.
Woohoo! Greatest day
Flight engineer.
ever.
Repair.
Hey guys, I'm here with Andrew Nokar, one of the technical directors for Walt Disney Imagineering, one of the brains and hands that went into the building of Millennium Falcon, Smugglers Run. It's a pleasure, Andrew. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Good to meet you.
I have flown this thing now twice.
Yeah?
I put a couple dings in it. I apologize. I know.
Rookie's gonna be mad.
I'm a rookie. What can I say?
All right.
What are some of the key things that went into really getting the details right?
Walt Disney Imagineering and Lucasfilm worked together tirelessly, going through all of the film archives, all of the still shots, the sets, to make sure that we had every detail correct. This is the Millennium Falcon, so it needed to look exactly like what you would expect it to look like as soon as you walk in the door and as soon as you walk down that hallway and into the cabin.
So every person plays a role.
So there's really three different positions that you can fly in when you're one of the flight crew. So you can be a pilot, a gunner, or an engineer. So as a pilot, it's actually been divided. Hondo's done a few little modifications
Right.
to the Falcon. So the co-pilot on the left has left and right control, and the pilot on the right has up and down control. So you have to work together as a team to make sure you're flying around those obstacles and avoiding the TIE fighters. The next two positions, the gunners, pretty self-explanatory, but a vital role, right?
Right.
I mean, you've got to be shooting those enemy fighters as they're coming in, otherwise the ship's going to get damaged.
And they're coming in hot.
There's a lot of them, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
The last position is the engineer, which I'm a little partial to because I'm an engineer.
Right, that makes sense.
But the engineer role inside the Millennium Falcon is you're really holding the whole ship together. You have to repair the ship. Every time the pilots accidentally fly into something, the engineers have to do a little repair procedure. And if they don't, the performance of the pilot's controls goes down.
So when you come here and you're flying this, you have to go and you have to try each different, because every single position really does something different and it plays a different role. It's just a ton of fun, and it's every Star Wars fantasy you've ever had as far as flying the Millennium Falcon. Andrew, thank you so much for talking with us.
Hey, thank you.
And thank you for doing such a great job.
This is the most ambitious attraction we've ever done at Disney, or maybe that anyone has ever done. It is everything Star Wars all in one package. It has all of the action and the epic spectacle, the thrilling adventure, and even some of the humor. Basically everything that makes Star Wars, all in one attraction experience.
All right, guys, we got to talk about this for a second. I just came out of a first-hand sneak preview of Rise of the Resistance, the upcoming attraction that opens in December 5th here at Galaxy's Edge. It is the second attraction for the park, but I'm going to tell you right now, this is the attraction that Star Wars fans have been waiting for. This is the one that's going to have everybody coming back to this land over and over again. Don't get me wrong, the Millennium Falcon is awesome. It is a blast. You You get to touch and walk on and fly the Millennium Falcon from multiple different positions, pilot, engineer, gunner. It's amazing, but Rise of the Resistance is insane. It's a long-form story attraction that takes you on multiple ride vehicles. Yes, I said multiple ride vehicles. You're flying through space. You're on a Starship Destroyer. We stepped in, they took us into one of the main stages, and I'm gonna tell you right now, when you walked through the door and saw the main stage, I got literal goosebumps. I don't say that about a lot of things. I got literal chills. It was enormous. I couldn't believe the size, the scope. There were stormtroopers everywhere, full-size TIE fighters. You're looking out into space and seeing the world of Star Wars. It's incredible. Guys, I'm telling you, you're not ready for Rise of the Resistance. I cannot wait to see that on December 5th.
Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, right? The most technologically advanced ride that we've designed, developed and are about to open on both coasts. Yeah. Very close in ride tests right now. It's putting you in the middle of a climactic battle between the First Order and the Resistance. Right. To get you there, right, you find out that the Resistance is here, hiding in the forest here on Batuu. And you've got a message from General Organa, and General Organa is going to send you to a rendezvous point. Something goes terribly wrong for you, and you get drawn into the deck. You get drawn into the deck of a Star Destroyer. This is very unusual. I think you saw that deck today. That's where your adventure steps off, right? Now you're under the control of the First Order. You're about to be interrogated by Kylo Ren, right. And things are really about to go bad for you.
We got our first taste, and the picture has been released of one of the rooms that we actually saw on the sneak peek. And it is just this mammoth.
It's the hangar. It's the deck of a Star Destroyer. It's one of the places you've already wanted to be.
And
right?
you feel that. When you walk into that room, you feel like you have walked onto the deck of the Star. It literally gave me chills. Like, I'm not exaggerating.
Well, I think it might have been the 50 stormtroopers or maybe the TIE fighter that was hanging on the rack ready to be departed.
That certainly
right?
helps.
Yeah, it helps a lot, right? That's just to set the tone, for you to get a sense of what it's like to be not only interrogated in a Star Destroyer by Kylo Ren, but to be broken out and to try to find your way and escape through an active Star Destroyer. To try to find an escape pod, to try to make your way back to Batuu. Right. But that level of detail, that level of storytelling, that level of immersion, and that level of authenticity, right? I hope you could feel and sense the depth of the plate steel hull. You could sense the presence of the stormtroopers. That is what we were going for, and that's what we're delivering with Rise of the Resistance.
Day 2, I think it's time to try some blue and green milk. Let's give it a whirl. All right, I got some green and some blue. But I started with the blue in honor of Master Skywalker, our fallen comrade. It's pretty good, actually. Cantina, and you really feel like you're taking a step into A New Hope, where Han Solo might be making a deal at one of these tables, which is kind of fitting because the Millennium Falcon is right outside, so we could be making an escape for it soon. When in Rome. If you're looking for merch in Batuu, you're probably going to find it in the marketplace or one of the other street vendors or at the front of the park. What I'm saying is there's a lot of places to get Galaxy's Edge merch. Merch everywhere. So when you walk into the marketplace, you not only have merch, you've got some food in here, you've got all kinds of things, but there's street vendors, and all of them are citizens of Batuu. So it really aids in keeping you immersed in this place and making you feel like you're getting a day in Star Wars. A perfect example of that is when you turn around and see this right here. It doesn't get much more Star Wars than that.
antiquities. Dakandar, the proprietor, is a collector of all things rare and mysterious, and I think especially drawn to Force-sensitive items. So he has quite the collection here. So guests can find lightsabers that belong to Luke Skywalker, Rey, even Kylo Ren. I think some of the unique items are actually the costume pieces. We were able to work closely with Lucasfilm and visit the Skywalker Ranch archives and actually see the original costumes that the characters wore on screen. So we have the Emperor's robe and under tunic, and guests can also find the cane here to really bring that character to life. Dakandar, he works with Hondo, bringing shipments in back and forth. So he, is the collector here. People know they can come and trade and barter with him. So we do have these Sith represented quite well here in Dakandar's. One of the items that guests can find is the Sith holocron. So the holocrons are what the Sith use to pass down knowledge and wisdom from generation to generation. So guests are able, if they're Force sensitive, to unlock the Sith holocron and then hear the messages of the Sith passed down. So I think Dakandar's is actually an attraction in itself. If guests look around, he has quite the collection. So helmets all across, busts. There's a really cool Mandalorian helmet up there that he's acquired. Very recent acquisition, I would say. So it's a really interesting place where no matter kind of where it's come from, no questions asked, but you can find an eclectic mix.
All right, so the awesome thing about Hollywood Studios here at Walt Disney World is that Batuu and the world of Galaxy's Edge is not the only Star Wars experience here. There's more Star Wars to be had. So let's check some of those out, shall we? This is not the droid you're looking for. This is Star Wars Launch Bay, and I've been to Disney Hollywood Studios plenty of times, and believe it or not, I have never been in here, but it's full of Star Wars memorabilia, props from the actual movies. It's got a 10-minute film that shows the entire history of Star Wars, including some things that are maybe coming in the future. This is just a really cool place to come and see a little bit of history from Star Wars, as well as meet some characters from the films. So Star Wars Galaxy's Edge opens tomorrow. You've got Star Tours, you've got Launch Bay right behind me, but if that's not enough for Star Wars fans, they've also got the Star Wars Galactic Spectacular here at Hollywood Studios at night, right in front of the Mann's Chinese Theater. That is pretty freaking epic too, so you got to make sure that you check that out whenever you come down here. It's also the 30th anniversary of the park, so they've got a ton of stuff to do. You got to get down here and check it out for yourself. If you're a Star Wars fan, it's basically utopia. All right, guys, that's going to do it for my time here on Batuu and Galaxy's Edge at Walt Disney World. Thanks so much to Disney for having us out. It really is an incredible place. If you're a Star Wars fan, this is just a place you have to go to just get that fix and feel what it's like to live in the world of Star Wars. From flying the Millennium Falcon to talking to the citizens of Batuu, everything is completely immersive. You are immersed in Star Wars while you're here. It's just so much fun. Build a droid, custom build your own lightsaber. What can I say? As they say here in Batuu, until the spire.